Hello everyone, welcome back to iTeLearn. Today we're going to have a quick orientation session on QA Live project. So a lot of things that will be there to discuss as part of it. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So what is QA Live project and who is the right uh, member for QA Live project? What are we looking at? How does it work? What are the advantages of a QA Live project? We'll also talk about any prerequisites that are needed. Okay, fair enough. Any other topics you want to hear? At the end, we can have a good Q&A session. All right. Maybe we'll also talk about the schedule and application and test scope. That's something also I want to talk about. All right, let's get going, team. So what is QA Live project? Very simple. An actual project that needs testing. So, and you will be part of it. And the good thing is this is referenceable projects. So depending on how you do, you will be able to provide references of your team members and myself sometimes or Saqib or other QA members that you work with in the project. Let me quickly see if Saqib is also joined, not sure. Oh, Saqib, you've joined. I'll make you the organizer. That way you can unmute yourself when you want to. So what it is primarily very simple, team. There's a project that needs to get tested and we have to do it. And these are typically web-based applications or mobile-based applications that you need to start looking at from a functional perspective. So you will act like a QA engineer working with a team. So what we do is the same project will get divided between 3 to 5 teams depending on the size. Okay, each team is around 5 to 10 members, and the reason we have the scale is typically the people who drop out in between, they have other priorities in life that they need to handle, and they come back and join next project and so on. So we keep a small team together and you interact with each other. And this is by far one of the most superior experiences that our students face. When you get to interact with other students who are part of this live project, you get to understand how we need to accomplish the project, complete the testing as needed, how we go about documenting everything, working in a structured manner, and working with a team helps you to bridge any learning gaps that you have. Since the project needs implementation to be done, testing to be executed, you will need to perform those tasks. And whatever you have learned theoretically, now is the time to implement practically. All right. What we do is Saqib will primarily be the one who will run it at our end. What happens under these circumstances is your project lead. All right, so he will tell you what to do, how to do, and so on, and I will continue to be one of the supporters for this activity. So what typically happens is we meet 2 to 3 times a week. iTeLearn team does not present or train. So we are not in the training zone right now. We're in a project zone. And our intent is to simulate the real time experience as much as we can. That is most important. All right, sorry about that. So we try and simulate the real-time experience, right from challenges, coordinating, research on how to find a solution, tech support, supporting not only yourself but interacting with the team members, how you play with the team, how you interact with them, and so on. And each time you present as a team on the project updates. So what this does is it helps to better speak about the project like you do in the interviews. So let's talk about more from a diagram perspective, team, as to what and how things work. So far, any questions? Maybe after this diagram that I'll quickly draw and put together, things will become pretty easy for you to understand. All right. So there is an application under test. Okay, your AUT. That's a U team, not a V. And we have the development team which has kind of developed or is going to be developing this application in a test. What is this application in a test is still a question mark for us. We don't know. I know it, what I want to pitch, but it's very early, so I'll discuss about that application also. Now, this application under test needs to get tested, and for testing that, we are using the iTeLearn umbrella to do this. Okay. The clients don't pay us, but as part of the project itself, we do their testing and help them to achieve it. Now, iTeLearn, as you all know, team, is part of Verkasa Inc. That is our incorporation. Okay. And whatever we do will be under this. So under Verkasa Inc., it's not just training. We're also looking at projects and consulting in a big way. We also have our Anyot product. Now what we're doing is with the QA Live project, we're focusing mainly on manual testing team. Manual testing. You may use some test management tools. I would strongly recommend, and maybe Sakib, you also should kind of put this together for our team members that they need to start using Anyot maybe for test management activities, if not execution. Manual testing, test management tools, Anyot. Then what? Defect life cycle, etc. All right. So there are a lot of things that you'll be doing part of it. Automation is out of scope for this specific exercise team. But if you go the Anyot way, then easy to upgrade to automation. So this is what we would like you to do, team. And while we are working on test management tool of Anyot, you will also look at and be able to compare it with how other applications have worked in the similar space. All right. Now, in this, what is very important for you to note is not to get deviated and try and do something which is out of scope. The most important thing is the schedule and the application and testing scope. What is the scope of it? Okay. So it is the most critical aspect. All right. So do not try and overdo things that will affect the schedule or the scope of what needs to be done. So the schedule and the scope are most relevant. You have to play it accordingly. So at the same time, you have a free hand to be creative, okay, and innovative. Sure, why not? If you have some good suggestion, let's bring it up to the table, let's discuss, and let's go from there. Sometimes what happens is what you're doing could be very interesting, and what we will do is, maybe we'll focus a little bit more on that aspect of it, which will help every other team member. So in the diagram here, now the same application gets tested by team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. Each of you, once we group you together based on your time zone and your location, will start interacting with each other and start executing and testing this project. Once the testing is being done for each team, you're reporting back to us that, hey, we found this is the approach we've taken to execute this project. This is what our findings have been, so on. What do you say? Okay. And so does every team present it back. So not only do you get experience from what you have done, but you also see how the other teams have approached. And when they present, you get a good perspective. And overall, together, collectively becomes the output that makes this application and test much more efficient and effective. All right. So it's a great comparison. It's a very healthy competition that exists when you work with team. So the team spirit and healthy competition makes things more interesting things. And I keep speaking with a lot of my students, and when I ask them as to one of what is something that you really liked or changed your opinion on yourself, your self awareness, trying to understand what we are, who we are, and so on. What's our weakness, what's our strength, how to fulfill that from a job perspective. That is what this live project does. And that is what has been mentioned by many students that they've seen success through it. It has drastically changed their approach. Imagine this way, so far you've just been on the other side of listening, you've just been the listening side, and we've been speaking to train you to get into the fundamentals. Now things take a change. You will start speaking and we'll start listening from the second third session mostly, because we have to give you an application walkthrough. All right, AUT walkthrough. Now, to be able to walk through this application, you need to understand the functionality of what it is, where is it currently, in what state, and so on. The beauty of it is for the development team and the application and test, it is hugely beneficial. For iTeLearn, it's great to be able to provide a value to our students where they're able to gain this experience. That is most important thing. So I'll go through this. Any questions that you have, just write it and put it to the side. As we progress, I'll start addressing them. Who is the right member for QA Live project? QA trained, okay, or QA working in QA, working in manual testing. Someone in automation with not too much experience, with not experience, not sufficient for the market. So let's say this project lasts for about 3 months, team. Though we will try and do everything in 1 month, that is what we will do. Some of the interested members continue to work on this project beyond that 1 month. It just adds an experience that you have to fulfill. One of the biggest challenges, team, that we do and biggest advantage is helps significantly by showcasing project within your resume. Okay, that's one of the big advantages that we get out of it. Now, QA trained has to be iTeLearn trained team. There's no question about it. And this I cannot deviate. Not in project. The reason is very simple. Out of the, let's say, 10 people who are here in this group, let's say 8 of them are iTeLearn trained and they have access to all our tutorials. The remaining 5 of you, 2 of you, for example, have the great knowledge and so on. But when we are executing the project, the team will keep referring to what tutorials to watch, which approach to take, and so on. And you wouldn't be able to add value at that time. That is the reason we, sorry, team, one second. We specifically insist that it has to be a student with iTeLearn. Okay, working in manual testing is fine. Someone in automation with experience not sufficient for the market. This is a great opportunity to add that project knowledge consistently. All right, everyone. So, who is the right member for QA Live project? This is what I would say. Now, if you are a fresher, rather no work experience. All right. Then start with the project as a silent participant. Whatever you can pitch in, do it. The remaining 8 people will motivate you and will guide you to succeed. So there's no problem in that. You will not face an issue on that. What where you will need to figure out is how do you motivate yourself. I know you may be not as effective as the others since you're just starting your career, but that's fine. There are still aspects in the project that you can involve. You can do activities like business analyst, you can help documenting the requirements or writing test cases, you can learn any out for free. There's so many things you can do, but ensure you go back to complete the training videos or live. Then everything becomes easy and it will fall into place well. All right, is that clear, team? Let me finish some of this and then we can go forward. So what is QA Live project? Who is the right member for QA Live project? Prerequisite one, QA member with iTeLearn. That's the only prerequisite that I look at, team. Okay, new members can join for live project, but and repeat as needed. So you're not part of just one live project team. Anytime we have live projects in the future, you can come in and start working. This is going to be a brand new application team. I'll talk about the application and what happens. So how does it work? Like I mentioned, 2 to 3 times per week, a project review session by iTeLearn. So we will review what we are doing, team. You will interact with your team regularly, and so regularly that I've seen people doing WhatsApp, Skype, GoToMeeting, any communication possible they're using to better be connected and interact with each other. Okay, team interaction is key. This is very critical, team. So for this program to work well, the project teams, which at least with 4 or 5 members who are active and interacting, really have done wonders compared to the ones where they've been a little bit more sober about it. What were the advantages of QA Live project? One, showcasing projects within your resume. Two, project references. Three, real-time project challenges. Four, you can afford to make mistakes. You can experiment as much because your job is not on the line, team. So even if you make a mistake, it is still fine for us. Then you have much higher improved confidence due to presentations as part of QA Live project. You will also have the underwent typical project challenges. Like, there's so many things that that can happen in an IT project. Like, we didn't have enough number of people, there was not enough documentation, we didn't get too much detailed walkthrough. There's always a cribbing and a complaint scope, team, always. And how did you go over those challenges? How did you come up with solution? So what we don't want to hear, and maybe this I'll put it here, don't want to hear I'm stuck and need help. It's not that we won't help you, team, but we want to teach you fishing than rather giving you the fish. That's the philosophy with which we want to approach the whole live project. Don't want to hear I'm stuck and need help. Rather, love to hear had a challenge, found a solution, would like to review and take feedback. Perfect. You found some solution. You went about digging, because even if I have to find a solution, that is the same process. I have to go search around, find that, and has anyone else faced a similar issue? What is the issue? With a lot of clarity, you should be able to do that thing. Okay. So this is just not for automation team. It is even for manual testing. A lot of times when you get stuck, like I said, different challenges that you went, and that is what you can showcase. The other thing is you can fill the gaps in your learning. Sometimes you cannot learn beyond a certain point because of the typical fact that it tends to become vast and you don't have hands-on experience, so you tend to forget whatever you learned. Unless you put what you learned into hands-on team, it will not really stick with you. And this is a true hands-on experience. And we work on schedule, you work under pressure, tight schedule, and so on. A lot of things that will happen. Now, we were talking about how does it work. So team interaction is key. That's what we're saying. The dates and times for the regular sessions will be shared with you. Okay, so we'll send you that, and you can look at that. The way we divide the teams are divided based on time zones, so they're able to interact with each other. We've tried earlier to do it based on skill set level and all that, but we've decided that, you know what, we put you together as a team, you figure it out, and you tell us how it's working and so on. Team. All right. And like I said, what are the advantages of QA Live project? I believe I've mentioned most of them. Helps significantly showcase projects, project references, real-time project challenges. You can afford to make mistakes, much higher improved confidence, and even typical project. Okay, so this is repeating. Like this, fill the gaps in your learning, to answer experience under pressure, tight schedule. So it basically is grooming you in a really, really strong manner. These 8 points, team. Okay. If I remember anything else, I'll add. Has anyone of you has already been a part of one of our QA live projects earlier? Anyone from the audience? I'm not getting any response. Hardly anyone chatting back. Okay, so I'm assuming most of you are new and you do not have not attended a QA live project earlier. That's fine. Great. Thank you for your answers, team. All right, so that's fine. So what that means is you're going to be experiencing this for the first time. It will take you about a week or so to get settled. Let's talk about the overall schedule and what we're looking at. And Sakib, maybe you can help me out by adding anything here. It's typically between 4 to 6 weeks, team, timeline for the project execution. So from preparing, understanding, executing, testing out everything, it's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks timeline. The next one is what is the application under test? Now, there are so many applications that we work on with Atomic 77, and we have the standard applications options. Like, we have Eniot, iTeLearn's new website. We have Interact still available for testing, though we were unable to focus on too much. We have QA on air, and so on. My intent is to add a new name to the project experience. All right. What do I mean, team? We already did projects on this. QA live projects we've done on these applications. So you can just watch the videos of previous live QA live project to get an experience. What happens typically? Take the last project. Just watch the videos a little bit, team. Play it like a movie. You'll get to understand how we do the project, how people have presented, what is good and bad. And that may they may have approached it differently for a different project altogether. So, Saqib, I'm not sure if you're in position to speak up, but do you have anything in mind for the application right now?
Hi, Karthik.
I,
Hi, everyone.
yes, Saqib, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Uh, so, Karthik, even I'm thinking all these applications we have taken as an previous for the previous sessions, right?
Uh-huh.
So, so shall we leave on the people who are interested to work on with like the applications which we have with IT workers?
Yeah. Yeah, because most of them are new, so I'm sure they've not worked on a project here. So either we can select one of these applications from here, or maybe we can talk about just done, which is a prototype development. I think we'll start mostly, this week, at least with requirements and so on.
Okay.
But the point is, so there are two options, team. Do you want to involve into a QA life cycle from the very beginning? That's a rare thing that you will get, team. The application is not yet ready. It is not built. It is not available to test yet. The requirements are being prepared right now. What is it that it will do and so on. And we will have that initial kickoff meeting we had. Now we have more detailed discussions on the exact requirement. Now, so there's no documentation. So we have to gather functional requirements of the application. Then we have to do the technical design document as to how we'll approach the coding aspect, what technologies we'll use, how we will put the entire architecture together, and so on. And then we go into the actual development. Once the application is ready, test it. But as we are know in agile teams and agile methodology, a lot of parallel testing activities can happen. So while the requirements are being created, we can start documenting all the test cases and scenarios into the test management tool, which I was recommending you should use Anyot because it will help you when you get to Selenium Live project significantly. And for those of you who want to continue to work with the newer versions as we keep releasing onto it, that's great. This is in fact going to be, if it's just done, then it's going to be more, it's not more, but at least it's a combination of web and mobile apps both. So we also need to do a mobile app testing project, live project. So Saqib, we will take a decision maybe within the next couple of days if we can use just done or we'll use something that's available right now.
Sure, Karthik.
Thank you.
And one more, Karthik, for the
Uh-huh.
prerequisite, if you are using your, they should be ASCP member, right, Karthik? So they need to watch the videos.
Yes, if they have to use this, then watch the NEOT certified tester training videos to work with NEOT. I think if you watch the NEOT certified tester training, and even if you're new to software testing, it's a decent start from there. So for JPAC 4, QA fundamentals are going on. Do we need to participate in the project parallelly? I would highly recommend for you to participate. Like I said, even if you have basic knowledge or at the very beginning of your learning curve, it is still okay to be part of this project because there are a lot of activities that you could do. You know how to write test cases, you know how to execute test cases manually, you know how to report defects. That's the primary most important thing. Okay, so from functional requirements, writing the test scenarios, and then writing the different other things to it. All right. Good point, Sakib. Thank you. Any other questions, team? So, team, I'm opening up the floor for Q&A. I think we've kind of put together. It's a very, very specific program, team. It's got its credit, it's got its own merit in terms of how it'll give you the experience. And all these points that we mentioned here are absolutely valid. It really helps in your job hunting. The other thing is you're better ready to face interviews. So while I wait for questions to appear in the chat or hands to be raised, I'm just writing a few more. Better ready to face interviews as you have spoken about your project many times. It's very simple, team. The logic is very human based. It's all about practice. Whatever we practice, we become better at. And over a period of time, that becomes something we call as talent. So we start with zero skill, we acquire that skill, we keep practicing it, we become good at it, and we can say that this person is talented in this field. The same thing with interviews. The main thing that you will happen when you walk into an interview is, okay, tell me about this project. That's a typical question. The second typical question is, what kind of a challenges did you face? How did you overcome? They'll ask you a question as to tell me something about your team members or your project lead. Do you know the actual names? Was it an actual project that you worked on, or you just copy pasted from someone else? They try and that is what I would do as an interviewer. And when you have to talk about the project, it should feel like you actually worked on the project. Your face will start glowing automatically when you talk about something that you worked on. That is very critical, team. All right, so I'm opening up the floor for Q&A. I'm going to give a couple of minutes gap in recording so that way I can get more questions in, team. Let's start, team, with some of the questions that we have out here. So if you have further questions, start putting them there. I'll start going in the order. Which methodology we will follow during the project? Okay, good question, Preeta. So in the development, like I said, it's right now being developed, right? This application. So the development will be totally an agile model, and we'll use Scrum methodologies also to do it. As part of the development lifecycle, we'll use Trello as a project management tool that will help us to better uh, put our tasks together and be able to work on it. So it's going to be agile with Scrum methodologies, and we'll use Trello for managing our tasks, project tasks. We're going to use Anyot for test management, and all the test cases that you document, we're going to put it within Anyot. When will the application requirements be available for review? Okay, good question, James. Application requirements be available for review. What I'm going to do is in the next session, which will be the first session of regular classes, I'm going to walk through the requirements that will be common that will happen with the development team as well. So what is the application all about? What are the requirements for the client? And while development team is working, I think it's a great time for the testing team also to work. In fact, in about a couple of hours from now, we'll have the second meeting on this new project with that entire mobile and web development team at our offshore center. So once we do that, I will also ask them to join or watch the video for the next session on the QLI project. At that time, the application details will come up as to what it will look like, what is the core functionality, what is the purpose. All those details will come across very clearly. Next question, sir. I want to participate in another project, in other projects also. How I want to make how I want to make resume in Android mobile. So you basically want to gain experience in Android mobile application testing, I'm assuming. Okay. Yeah, sure. So right now, yes, this is one project, QLI project. We will have next the mobile live project. We'll also have Selenium live project and the Anyot project. So there are multiple projects that you will have an exposure to as you keep going along. Hopefully, I answered your question. So we'll start with one. Let's get our foundation very strong with the QLI project. Then let's keep moving forward. Next question. If we have manual work experience, would you suggest to do Selenium Live project instead of QLI project? Okay, great question. So to answer that question, let's say you're already having manual work experience, but let's assume that you have a gap in between, maybe it for 3 months or 2 years or more. How do you show what you've been doing in this gap? And I think Selenium Live project is good. You should go for it if you're already Selenium trained. But starting with QLI project will not hurt. It'll actually be very good. So I believe strongly even, okay, here's the thing. If you have manual test experience and you're currently working in manual testing, do not join this QLI project right now. You're already busy with a full-time job. You are working manual testing. So you don't need to really add another manual testing project to it. If you still believe that you have time and you have access to it and you're interested to join, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. You can only learn a few more new things. It'll not hurt you at all. Can you tell app name? App name is also not frozen yet, but I think it's going to be called as just done. That's going to be mostly the app name. I'm attending QA live training. In this training, it's not done QA fundamentals. So should I participate in live project as live members or act as a silent member? So, okay, there's an answer also from the team. The live project regular paid classes will begin after the QA fundamentals training. Yeah, I think live project will start only after the end of QA fundamentals training. So that way we will be able to match. So you finish your QA live training, by then the live project also kickstarts. Okay. You don't have to be a silent member. The reason is very simple. I want you to get as much exposure as possible. Talk with whoever you feel comfortable with in the team. Try and get an opportunity to present. Try and figure out tasks that you believe you can do it with your current knowledge. There are always tasks in every project where even a beginner level can participate. That's what I would believe and push on. Is this just manual testing project? Yes, it is. Hi Karthik, how long the project will be for? At least 4 to 6 weeks. You can complete one phase of the project, but I would suggest that for this project, maybe it'll take, you can continue to be associated for at least 2 to 3 months. It's a little big project here. Okay, another question. I'm totally new to QA. What course is suggested to start with in terms of getting a job? What is the duration of the each training class? Okay, so Shivani, what I'll do is I'll have someone from the sales team contact you and go over these questions and guide you personally. But very simple team. What do you start with? What training course you take is very simple. In the QA market, in the QA industry team, just note this, very important. Okay. Let's say there's one manual testing position. How many resumes do you think will come up for this? Maybe 250 resumes, applicants. Now the vendor, or let's say five or one, whatever. Vendor cannot screen all. How can they go about screening all? 250. They cannot go through each resume or call each of them, find out, and so on. So they'll use some kind of filters. Filters will be, let's say, location, minimum experience, any tool knowledge, additional, uh, same pay package for everyone. Okay. Now, among this 250, they will realize that 200 do not have Selenium or automation or framework knowledge. So what is the first thing that the trainers will do? They will go about looking at not contacting them, and they look at remaining 50. Okay. From that, they will start screening. So while the position is manual testing position, the position is getting filled by someone who knows automation also. It's the same pay package. How does it matter? So I'm getting someone with automation experience for the same $60 an hour. That though it's still a manual testing job, I have an opportunity maybe to do an automation later. Okay, that is one thinking. So this is to answer the question on. I'm totally new to QA. Which course is suggested to start with? So if this is the fact, you definitely need to know QA. You have to participate in live project. It will help to do sorry, a little bit of mobile testing. It will definitely help to do Selenium. You need to know Java. You need to know frameworks. Now, the best course I would recommend is a longer one, CSDT, Selenium Certified Selenium Developer Training, because this will take you through this entire thing, and it will add also the frameworks, ANYOT, ACT and AACD, both to this program. Okay, so if That's the question, Shivani. This is what I suggest. Take what is most popular, what the market needs. This is what it requires. Looking for Selenium developers. It is not rocket science. It is easily achievable. You just have to go in a very planned manner in the way we guide you. You will be absolutely fine. Okay, next question. Karthik, I have 6+ years of experience in manual testing, but I have a break and planning to move to automation. Do you recommend joining this project, and what do you mean by project reference? Okay. I have 6+ years of experience in manual testing. Great, but I have a break. Since you have a break, Vimala, I would definitely recommend you to take up this QA Live project since you have a gap. Um, it is not going to be a very complex, advanced project. We're going to keep it very simple. We'll flow with it. We'll cover the fundamentals. Okay. Now, as part of what do I mean by project reference? Is when you submit your resume and you say that, hey, I've worked in this project, they'll ask for references where they can call and verify that yes, you did work or no, you didn't work in this project. And that's where my team and I we will come into picture. We will provide our phone numbers along with details so they can contact us accordingly and get to know how you worked on the project. All right, so that is project reference. Next question: can we do both manual and Selenium project together? Sure, if you have like 5-6 hours a day that you can spend, then doing two projects at the same time should not be a problem because you're looking at least spending 3 hours. So what I would suggest is spend at least 3 hours on your team. Minimum 15 hours per week for project work. I think this is the minimum that is needed. I would say 10 to 15 hours. So that is one commitment that you need to give because you cannot be the weakest link in your team. The team is as strong, has to be strong together. 2 years gap, I understand. So one of the members has a 2 years gap, and we need to see how we can show. So you cannot show 2 years gap, but maybe from the time you've joined us, from that time we can talk about what you've been learning, what you've been doing as a project, and so on. Okay. If I enroll for Selenium course, can I still be part of the QA Live project? Selenium course by itself will not include QA Live project team. So you need to take it separately, or you can take CSDT, which is all inclusive. During project, if you have any question or queries about project, then with whom we have to contact. Okay. Questions. Here is what I would do, team. Okay. First, I would search on the internet. All right. Second, consult with a team member or the whole team and see if they can advise. Finally, consult with us, with iTeLearn rather, if still not solved, and we'll figure out how we can work on situations. I know. So what we're trying to do is by trying to make you put that effort initially to get to the doing this project. And when you're doing the project, one of the biggest things is self-discovery. How you go about finding solution, because this assistance you may not find it that easily when you're working on the job. All right. So that's your answer. I'm hopefully answering most of the questions. Anyone feel they're not clear about the question and answer? Please let me know. What time would the QA Live project team generally meet? I believe it's going to be Mondays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific every week for the next 4 to 5 weeks. And the next session we will communicate to you. It depends on a lot of other factors as well. So as soon as we get the schedule, we'll communicate to you. You said team will be divided 5 to 10 members, right? In this team, everybody working as testers or one project member, one developer like that. Okay, good question. So in this teams where we are 5 to 10 people working together, you will be only software test engineers team. There will be no developers or project managers or architects, only QA engineers. Yes, you may do some other tasks also like requirement documentation, technical design documentation, use cases. Maybe some of it you will also spend time on. Okay. Uh, so all of you will be the QA team, and the good part is not everyone will be the same level. but as you go about discovering, it'll become easy. Keep your focus on the project, on the timeline. That should be the most important thing, and then other things will follow. All right. Okay, so then how much time would one spend every day on this project? So just answered luckily. How long is the course? CSDT course, I think, is a 2 or 3 months course. When will ACD and NEOT class for JPAC 4 start? There are classes for NEOT certified developer going on right now. We'll start another batch as we get closer to maybe another month's time. But good thing is you can go and start looking at the videos. They're all will still be very relevant. I have 8+ years experience, but I took gap for 2 years. So I want to do automation Selenium project. Do you have that option to complete in fast track? Hmm, good question. Okay, here is what I think we can do. All right. Maybe for the same project, we will also have someone working on automation on the side, Selenium as well. We can do that, right, Sakit? Maybe one team just works on Selenium who could not complete or participate with the recent project, or whoever wants to repeat also.
Yeah, sure, Kar. We can do that.
Okay, cool. I think we should be able to do that, yeah. So as we see the interest, because a lot of you have been asking for automation project, how many people would be interested in an automation project, like a Selenium Live project? The same application, while there's a team members who are doing manual, maybe we can do automation also. So I got 3 people voting and saying they're interested in a Selenium Live project right now. 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's a good amount of team. And I'm assuming most of you already have good experience in manual testing, correct? 7. Okay, so that's a good number of team. I think we can easily form one team for it. Maybe we can form one more team for mobile app testing also, Saket. We'll need to discuss on that. Okay,
Okay, Kar.
we can do that. Next question. I just have 2 more questions, team left, and then I think we're good. If there are any further questions that you want to add, now is a good time to start putting them, please. I have experience working as a manual tester as well as automation testing using UFT and ALM. Would QA project help me to get advanced knowledge? Currently, I'm looking for a job. For this question, here is my answer. I don't think QA Live project will advance your knowledge significantly right now because you already have work experience, both automation and manual. If you have a gap, it'll help to fill that gap. In sense, gap that you've been doing something on site if you're not currently in a job. But you're currently in a job and you're looking for an improvement, I would strongly suggest that go with the latest tools like Selenium and so on. That's what will do well for you. All right, Bhavin. When QA Live project with us, I think we answered that. How often does the QA Live project start? I think every 2 months or so we should be starting a new QA Live project. Karthik, is ACT training videos accessible to QA premium member? Yes, Jacqueline, ACT training videos are accessible to every member. They're free trainings. So if you go to iTeLearn.com, where are the videos, Sashna? Are they in iTeLearn.com/ACT or I'm not sure if they're there.
They are under upcoming courses, upcoming event.
Upcoming
It
event.
is there on the webinars page, Karthik. I'll add the link.
Oh, it's there in webinars page also. Okay, cool. Okay, there you go. Any your certified tested training, all the free 5 hour training videos are all here. There are just 4 videos here, Ashna. There are only 4 ones, 4 sessions.
There were 4 sessions. The one last session that we did was AACD orientation. So it's been under a different.
Okay. Um, where is ASCD here? ACD, I don't see it here. No, I don't see ACT here. Can you check on that, please? ACT
Yes,
is
I'll
there,
do that.
developer is not there. How does your
Yeah.
team help in placement post training? So right now, while we are focusing more on the JPAC members, because that is the package that they have taken, we're also assisting the other members whenever they have questions. They call us, right from resume preparation, assistance, feedback, mock interviews, project work, references, posting in job boards, preparing you on how to take telephonic calls, in-person interviews. We've created a complete program on this, and we've put this as part of what we call as some of our free webinars. You should definitely go there. Uh, Online courses. There's a job placements. Where is that thing? Job placement certified training program for software test automation. Yes. Is this the one? I think it was just a free webinar, right? Okay, what I'm searching for is where are the videos where job placement training online. There you go. So
You're
in
referring
here,
to the 7 hours of training done, right?
yes, that's correct. Different phases of getting a job, what happens, agenda, everything is here. I think this is a free training, right? Oh, it's $50. Okay, but then with CSDT and JPAC, I think it's free. I'm also interested in automation and manual. Sure, Preeta, maybe someone will call you to discuss on it. Is it necessary to learn manual testing in order to take Selenium training? I wouldn't say so. They're not linked with each other so much, but then the core is important, team. Because what if you don't understand manual testing? How will you automate it? So we need to understand the manual process. Only then we can do successful automation. So you don't have to be an expert in manual testing. That only comes from experience and the years you put. You will be more of a you know how you know the basics, and then you can start working on Selenium training. After the end of project training, do you provide real-time experience with developers in the form of internship? Sure, why not? We could do that. We keep doing that very often, so that's not something we are worried to do it. It's something we do very often to provide internship project work. All right, I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to pause for maybe another couple of minutes and see if I can get any other questions that I can answer. All right, team, I don't see many other questions. Just one question which came, what is prerequisite for mobile app testing? When we talk about mobile app testing project scope and Selenium project scope, I'll discuss on that, team. First, let's talk about QLI project. We'll talk about the application as well, and then we will get into the other details. All right. Even if you have to do automation, we still have to go through the basic understanding of the application. So all these steps will remain to be common. Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining again. And you know me well, hopefully, everyone. So this is an interesting project. And when I say it, I really mean it. Both because the application is new, brand new, great experience to add. Second is the fact that whatever you put for learning will become very clear. This is the one with highest ratings teams, live projects that we do with iTeLearn. So they get very, very solid user ratings. So I believe it'll really help you with what you're trying to achieve with your career. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Really a pleasure to be able to talk to each of you. We'll see you back in the next session. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye now.